Well, hello, everybody. How's everyone doing today? Sam, the Hawk Hawkins, my co-host, here with me as always. And for those of you who know how to read a description that you clicked on one way or the other, today we're joined by musical artist Royale Lynn. How are you guys both doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk to our guest here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, y'all.
Can I ask you real off the bat, do we call you Royal Lynn? Lynn, how do you go by?
You can just call me Royal.
Sweet. All right.
I like that.
I do.
Royal. It's with an E though. What is that your birth name?
Yeah. So
That's
my
pretty.
Grandfathers on both sides and my uncle, they're all named Roy. So I was the first girl, so I got the family name.
Awesome, Royale.
Mm-hmm.
I like
I think
it.
that's a badass version of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Very
you.
cool.
Thank you.
And you're out in Tennessee, as we were talking before we hit record, right? Just outside of Nashville, or are you right in the heart of Nashville?
Right, almost in the heart. I try and stay as close to Music Row as I can because that's where
Yeah.
we write majority of the time. And yeah, I love Tennessee. I will never leave.
Yeah, I love visiting it. Definitely, Music Row, Broadway, all the bars, and all the fun to be had out there. You hop from bar to bar there, and there's always somebody who's like an amazing musical performer, like just happens to be there
Yes.
that random night, and then you might just you have a little whiskey, a little beer, and get some country on. It's fucking awesome. I enjoy it so much.
It's a great place for musicians who want to learn how to perform. I think it's a great tool to have to play down there. And before you go on a tour, like I think that there's things that you can't learn by just not doing it. So I feel like you'll
Right.
play to no one, you'll play to a room full of people. It's a really good tool.
And how long have you been down there and doing these bars and everything?
So I moved down here in 2015. So it's been 8 years, 8 years or
years,
so.
yeah.
And I actually had to play in the bars downtown for like 5 years full time. I played 5 days a week, 4 hour sets,
Wow.
and no
Yeah.
breaks. And I just think it's a great, like I said, a great tool. I would not know how to perform in front of any type of crowd if I hadn't had that experience. So I'm kind of grateful for it. In the grand scheme of things, it's a lot of singing. It's a
You're
lot on the
10,000
voice.
hours in, though.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, no, it's great, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
So I found you originally and introduced Johnny to your music through social media, and we can talk a little bit. I did you get recently shut down? I see that you got a lot of spammers or fake accounts, but well, we can talk about that in a minute. But I will give you some credit of what you're saying of how you're going through things. It seems like social media is how a lot of people found you, but you're also doing the work. There's a lot of artists today. Johnny's actually on tour with Kim Dracula, who had never performed ever, but he has a huge
Wow.
social presence on there. So it's interesting to hear you're kind of breaking the mold of the next generation of
I got to
getting those
cut you
hours
off
in
right
earlier.
there.
Go
That's,
for
that's,
it.
that's mostly
Correct me.
true. Kim Dracula had done some stuff before, but not as Kim Dracula. That was their first
okay.
Kim
Oh,
Dracula
okay.
stuff. After actually talking to them later on in the tour, him and his brother, who were the main guys of the band, have done other stuff before. But it was very small because they're from Tasmania. So like this small island off of Australia. And so they've
realize
only
that.
done a handful of shit there. So anyways, I just had to correct you. I don't want our listeners, I'm sorry, Royal, I don't want our listeners to have to listen to Sam's incorrect facts and stuff.
My incorrect facts I got from you.
Yes, this is true. No,
Well, there's
it's
all
just
kinds of
interesting, the
kinds.
social media stuff, man.
Yeah. So what's up with your
It's been
social media
fun.
right now?
Oh, y'all. It has been a battle. I think we just have a lot of fake accounts reporting my account because they want to be the only ones. It's the whole thing. I've actually never experienced this until honestly the last couple of weeks, and we've got so many fake profiles going on. It's crazy, and it just breaks my heart because we don't want the fans to like fall victim to the scams. And I'm doing my best to try and like make sure that everyone knows which counts are real, and we're trying to get verified, and hopefully once we get verified on all platforms we'll be good, but it's an uphill battle.
Man, so I'm sorry. For a layman like myself, what exactly happened and why? Because I mean, a couple weeks ago when you were originally going to come on the show, we'll get to what happened there. You had a blue check mark and, you know, over 100,000, getting close to, you know, whatever. And then that was not you. I saw someone with a blue check mark. I started following.
I don't have a blue check mark on anything. I do have a bigger following, but
Maybe
to be
that's what it was.
verified, there's certain things that you have to. We've applied and I think it's just a matter of write-ups and things like that that are super recent is what they need to verify. And it's we are working on it.
Okay.
Just show that number one rock singer Billboard chart and then say, hey
Yeah.
guys, I'm official.
Well, like not only that, I mean, now that she's been on the Drinks with Johnny show, she should be able to get that blue check. It was super easy, right?
Exactly. There we go.
That's the kind of clout we have around here. No,
You guys
it's
are my
funny.
ticket in.
Yeah. I
Are we
remember getting like
drinking?
blue checks. Our blue checks were tough. Yeah, I'm having a beer right now. Are you
Am I allowed
joining?
to have a beer too?
I would love nothing more. Coors Light. Right
I am
on.
a huge Coors
Silver
Light
bullet.
gal. Always,
Silver bullet.
always. All my songs are written about Coors Light.
That's good. No, cheers. I
Cheers.
got
Thank
a
you for
big
having me,
wave.
all.
Yeah, of course. I got a big wave right now from my tap back here. But then I'm gonna I'll probably switch over to a filthy IPA if this conversation continues and you don't leave us soon.
Yes. I I won't, but I wish I had Coors Light on tap.
Yeah. I mean, I've had it a few times. I used to love Coors Light. Let's get into some beer talk a little bit here. I used to love Coors Light. It was like the easy, like light beer, and then I switched to Miller Lite. I just liked the taste better.
Yeah, that's fair.
And now I'm such like a, I don't want to say a beer snob. I've been ruined by IPAs. I can't have anything that's like not full bodied like that. And I'm like, unless I could do a Coors Light if we're playing like beer pong or you're out at the river when it's like 100 and whatever degrees. Like, yeah, you're not going to have an IPA at that time. But
Yeah, that's fair.
so I
I love
remember
the
my
taste.
first beer. I remember my first beer.
I love the taste. Honestly, I searched like when I found Coors Light, like I knew that was the one for me. But I have tried a lot of others and I still come back to Coors Light because I'm just like I love the taste. Trying to get a sponsorship, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, you'll get it. You just keep
I
going
keep
at
them
what
in
you're doing.
business.
Right.
Yeah.
I keep
They
them
should-
in business. I understand they wouldn't want to.
Hey, and
jeopardize
and if anyone in Coors Light is handing out sponsorships as well, I love Coors Light. Just saying, way better than Miller. No, it's
Oh my
fun.
goodness.
I want to get back to what we were talking about, the being on the bar scene and playing down there in Nashville. Because as you were talking, it reminded me. I was like, me and Sam have had a lot of comedians on this show too, and we've gotten to know a lot of their processes. I mean, everyone's different, just like in music, everyone has a different process. But one thing that seems to be pretty common, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but they're trying their work, their jokes on a regular basis in the smaller clubs and stuff, like you would be doing music and stuff. So I think that's an interesting way to like cut your teeth, really, you know, in music. Because I mean, you do it. Like for me in a band, we traveled a lot, right? When we played all the small clubs and stuff like that. But there wasn't like a row here where we can just like play a bunch, you know. And I guess what I'm getting at is like, I think that's really cool that Nashville has that, where you have like that ability to get everything, work out all the kinks, learn how to
Yes.
be a performer, because it's different than a songwriter. Songwriters, you'd be great and everything, but then a performer, you got to be able to bring it to the stage, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that trying out certain songs, like I guess I've been releasing songs for a while now, and I would try them down there, and sometimes they worked and sometimes they didn't, but it's always a song that you don't think it's going to be that everyone loves, which has been super interesting for me. And like writers round, stuff like that here in town, like you can have the best song ever, but sometimes it's like the delivery and the song itself is what makes it so special. But I think that downtown especially, like not a lot of people want to hear your original music. So I kind of found one of the bars that would let us like do a showcase versus like just a complete cover set. And that Old Red here in Nashville, they're really great. They are
Oh,
owned
good.
by the
Okay.
Opry, Blake Shelton's place. So they are very big on like helping artists get to the next step. And they're like, hey, we know you're playing here right now, but we want to see you play the Opry in the future, kind of thing. So there's always like that incentive, and they're very open. They put your name behind you as you play, whereas a lot of the bars down there don't do that,
Yeah.
nor want you to play original music. So I kept getting stuck in this like, yes, I want to perform. And after like 5 years, I was like, I really want to do the originals versus just doing covers. And thankfully things happen and social media changed my life, and here we are. But I think it's really important to like see how songs are written. And maybe
Mm.
that's the songwriter in me, but you figure out what's a hit and how it's written and why it's a hit from just singing these songs that have been hits for years, right?
Right.
So that's kind of how I get like the catchiness of like the rock spin, but also having that country element. I feel like people just kind of freak out because like there are so many rock and metal heads out there that love country and vice versa. And it's super cool to like hear people even at shows now are like, hey, my husband loves country, but I love metal. And you kind of meet us in the middle, which is kind of cool. So bringing couples together.
Yeah.
Couples therapy with Royale Lynn. Pretty awesome. You touched upon it just there, that crossover that's happened. I don't know, it's probably been the last 10 years. I mean, somewhat always been there, but like really the last like 10 to 5 years, there's been a lot of artists from the countryside coming over to rock. Was your first love country and then you got into rock, or was it the other way around?
So it was the other way around.
Okay.
So I grew up on a farm. My mom has trained horses my entire life. If like I was raised in a barn in the best way possible. And and it's so great because my mom actually like super country living, but we always kind of listened to like alternative and rock, and I'm a big Nickelback fan.
Right on.
And so I think that there were things that growing up, like I have always loved more rock and metal. Like I still love the same bands that I loved when I was in high school and still listen to all the songs. Like it's it's influenced me so much. But when I got to Nashville, they were like, you can't do that. And I was like, but I want to do that. And I feel like I am more authentically myself if I can kind of merge the two, because I just am country. So I feel like everybody gets it. Like we don't need to be like trucks, beer, dogs. Like I want to have like mental health talks in my songs, and I feel like that's why it reverts back to the metal side of things and where like my first love was. Like I think my first concert at 10 years old, I went and saw Sum 41 and Simple Plan did a concert close enough to my hometown, which I'm from the middle of nowhere. And my stepdad brought me, and I was like, this is amazing. And just seeing the energy in the mosh pit, oh my gosh, it's just incredible.
Did you get in the mosh pit when you were 10?
No, because I couldn't even see above everyone. So my stepdad had to literally put me on his shoulders to even watch the show. And we got home and he goes, Royal, what does this mean? The rock on sign.
What'd you tell him?
So funny. I was like, means rock on, right? I mean, at 10 years old, so funny, so funny. But they always brought me, or like, Billy Talent was another one that I really liked. And they're very, I would say they're little screamo, little, pop punk rock.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like so many influences over the years that now the music that we're making sounds like it does. My Chemical Romance, Day to Remember, people like that just like influenced me heavily.
So you comment a lot on your social media of like, have you seen the country version of if A Day to Remember
Yes.
did this and things like that?
Mhm.
And I see what you're doing and I totally get it and I agree with it. But then you always have the haters on the bottom, and you do such a good job of just laughing it off or brushing it off like, hey, I hope you find something new or whatever, you do a good job with that. Was the social
Thank you.
media plan that you had for this, were you doing that before, or was it with this you said, hey, I'm going to try this? Or how did it work? Because you definitely had a plan and it seemed to work.
I think that social media, finding out what your thing is, honestly was kind of hard for me at first because a lot of my friends were blowing up and signing massive record deals and like doing this thing. And I was like, how do you market to somebody who will scroll on their phone in 7 seconds? we have short attention spans now. Like it's hard to even watch a TV show that's an hour or a movie that's like 3 hours long. Most of us are like, holy cow, this is way too long. So I kind of was just like, if we're going to hit the markets, how do we show them what we're similar to, but maybe not exactly on? And then you can't have the good without the bad. And social media, obviously, you have keyboard warriors, you have everyone, but you have a lot of good. And I think that's what keeps you going. Like I have a lot of friends who are like, if I need a good laugh, I'll go look at Royale's comments because sometimes they're hilarious. They're like, we're not going to listen to her because her teeth are too white. And you're just like, okay.
That's a good reason. That's a good reason not to listen.
I gotta say, I saw your teeth.
I'm not even going to give a chance.
Like,
see, it was opposite. It was opposite for me. I was like, oh, she's got a pretty smile. I'll give her a chance to listen to her music.
Oh, well, some people are opposite, I guess. It's been a journey, but I think that, if you're going to be different, you have to understand that there are going to be people who do not like you. And at the end of the day, I encourage them to come to shows so that I can prove to them that they would leave a fan. Like, I'm just like, give me 10 minutes of your time. And, like we're singing songs and maybe this song's not your favorite. Maybe the next one will be. And, you can't have everyone like you, especially music wise,
Oh, I actually, I think artists thrive, at least from my perspective. You definitely thrive on controversy in this business. It's like you can't if everyone loves you, it's just vanilla. If you want to have both sides, like it's got to be that way. That means you're doing something right if you got haters, I think.
That's true. That's what I hear. You're
also a trendsetter though. I was thinking obviously like Eric Church, been a fan of his, but the first 3 albums had a little rock and then he kind of is more country again. And a lot of these country artists will dabble in rock, but it seems like you're embracing it. And I can't think of any other female country artists or hybrids that are really doing what you're doing, which is kind of cool and talk about trendsetters or not being vanilla.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Are you planning on sticking with the rock? Do you have any future idea? Is it always going to be a collab or what would you like in the long run?
I mean,
who knows?
My thing is music is music. To me, I don't feel like we should have genres. I think that if we create things that are a little left of center or a little right on this side, and you just have a collection of songs that you really love and you've put your heart and soul in and they're authentically you, I feel like genres shouldn't be a thing anymore. If I do want to sing in a country song, like 6 Feet Deep is very much a country song. But we wrote it in a way that it could be a rock song as well. So I'm kind of excited to see what happens, but we are working on new music and we've got a lot of cool things coming up and I'm so excited to share new music. So
who you been working with on these new songs?
So I am going to keep my producer. His name's Jonathan Roach. And he's amazing. And he really helps. He lets me sit in on everything. And that's what I kind of love because I feel like I kind of have control and say right from the start all the way until, we're putting it out. So he's been incredible. And he actually comes from the metal world, but he only works with like 3 artists here in Nashville and does a lot of country mixing. But we were like, we wrote this song and it's super cool. And he was like, holy cow, like, this is kind of like mixing everything that we love together to create Punktry.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
Punktry. Oh yeah, it is. And congratulations. Obviously it's been about a month now, but you got the #1 rock song as a country artist out of Nashville.
I don't even know how that happened. I'm so grateful. But I was like, holy cow. We actually went to, we got up to #5 on the hard rock charts and we were like, holy cow, this is incredible. Like to even be amongst, these people, like what an honor. This is incredible. And then one day I'm like looking through my Facebook comments and I never really do that. But this one day I was, and they were like, you're #1. And I was like, what? So I go to Billboard. I don't have a subscription. I'm sorry, Billboard, but I am broke. I'm sorry. But I was like, you can only see the #1 slot when you don't have an account. So I run over and I look and I'm like, oh my God, we have the #1 spot. And then I was like, I feel like I'm dreaming. And I still kind of feel like I'm dreaming even now because it's just been crazy. But just, to me such an accomplishment. Like it's crazy with a country song.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an accomplishment in its own to get a number
You're like,
one
what
song in any
are you
genre.
doing on here?
I was like, wait a minute, I thought I had the number one rock song. What the hell's going on here?
I'm sorry. I hope you had it the week after.
A few weeks after, I think. I don't know.
It was funny because I was trying to
look.
look when I was there, but like you said, it's subscription, so all I could see was the number one. But I was gonna see where Johnny's band fell right on there.
I did have a subscription for a while when it was happening the first time because I was like, oh, let's keep up with this, blah, blah, blah. And then by the time it had ended is when we had the number one, which is crazy. And I'm so grateful. And Billboard's been such a supporter since. So it's super grateful.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Congratulations.
After that, like, do doors open, or do you think it is, or is it kind of like big ups and then just plateaus and then more spikes, or how does this for someone who hasn't been through this? What's it like since then?
So we actually released this song 3 months ago, and well, maybe four now, but 4 months ago, released a song. It did what it did, and then the second time that it got on Billboard was when it went to number one. So we kind of saw this surge in it, and it's because I went back and revamped the videos again, and that's when we had our most viral video, which has like 15 million views on it right now. Across social media platforms, and like Facebook Reels came out of nowhere, and like it's at like almost 10K on there, or 10 million, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went on Instagram, and then it went on TikTok, and then I'm just like, holy cow, this is insane. And then finally has just gone on YouTube, which is crazy. My thing is like, I want to do this so bad that I wouldn't let not wanting to do social media like affect my music and how I get out to people, because ultimately it's free. And I think that a lot of artists don't want to do it. And I'm just like, if you want this dream and you have this dream from a little kid all the way up until, you're here in Nashville, like, why wouldn't you give it your all to make your dreams happen?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. For dinosaurs like myself, it was definitely a transition when I started using social media. But like, I started for mostly this show, and then I made one for myself as well. And it's interesting, man. It's a whole new ball game for guys like myself. I mean, I don't get it. Like, I can't keep up.
Really? Do you find it hard to like figure out what content to do? Because there's a lot of different ways to do music.
Can you take over our
out
content? We need
Yeah,
some help.
this is actually an interview for you to take over our social media.
I
will
tell
used
you
to chase
anything you want to know about socials.
Yeah, no, I mean, how do you get the contact or the context? And because for me, I'll speak for myself here. Like, for a while we were like trying, like, okay, well, how are we going to get the most interaction, all that stuff. We're trying to learn the engagement process, all that stuff, when to post, it gets the most views, all that stuff. And we did it for a while and it was working, but man, it was a grind. And then at one point I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna put it out when I feel like putting it out, and let it, and not get wrapped up in the numbers of it, and just do what I'm gonna do.
It's always the video that I don't think is gonna go that goes. So even if you don't want to post, I always tell everyone this: post it anyways, and just think about the times that people are on their phones. So that definitely helps. But I think just doing it
mornings when everyone's had their coffee and in the bathroom is most of the time when they're on their phones. Let's be honest.
I mean, maybe
Saturday, Sunday mornings. Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday mornings are the biggest.
I feel like when people get home after work, they're like settling down. Everybody's on their phone.
That's
try it out. Let me know how it goes.
We're gonna have to switch everything around here, Sam.
Go ahead. I got enough on my plate.
I finally just opened up TikTok the other day. I had never even looked at TikTok. That was like the first time the other day for a post. I went on there and
I feel like I've learned so much though of like things, like certain things that you just would never think that you would learn, and you're just like, holy cow. Yeah. I don't know. It'll figure out what you like and then start showing you things that you're like, oh, this is cool. Like, I'm very much on emo talk. Like, every single video is something to do with punk, metal, rock bands, like in some way, shape, or form. Or tattoos. Like, I have a lot of videos about tattooing. And
do you have tattoos?
I've got a couple. I actually just got my knuckles done.
What'd you get on your knuckles?
I got like some stars and a sun. Sounds ridiculous saying it out loud. Just little ones, but you can
Oh,
barely
okay.
see them.
Oh, those are
Yeah,
those are precious.
you're like those are cute.
Well, I don't know what I was supposed to say. They're the little guys. Yeah. They're cuter than my knuckles. My knuckles just say beer and wine, and like I got drunkenly on the road.
Say beer and wine.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
You know, I
I'm
just
classic.
noticed the other day, Zach
Coors
Brown
Light
has that
beer.
too. Like Coors
There we
Light.
go. Coors Light. LITE.
I love that. I love that. No, we were on tour and I was like, I really want to get, something on my hands. And they're not done. I just wanted to start them. But like I was kind of nervous because I was like, I don't know if that hurts in that area. And like I was kind of worried about it. And then it was the night before we got to play on the Luke Combs Stadium tour, and I was like, let's just go somewhere in Philly and get some tattoos. So the whole band went and got tattoos.
That's fun.
Did
though.
you all get
That's
different
fun
stuff
time.
or matching stuff?
No, everybody got different stuff. I could never like I don't know. I feel like I'm like commitment. I'm like, we should all just do our own thing. If you're gonna do it,
Yeah, matching tattoos can be scary.
We all get Luke Combs on our shoulder.
That would be epic, though. That would be pretty.
That
epic.
would be cool. Would be cool.
So when you're so going from the bars and everything, and then like you said, going on a Luke Combs stadium tour. From your perspective, everyone has a different one. Obviously, going from those two different places, or what do you prefer? I mean, I know it's a generic question, but
Yeah.
and for me, I'll just answer it real quick to make you feel a little bit more comfortable about it. Is like there's stuff about both scenarios that I absolutely love. Like more the merrier. Absolutely, I kind of lean that way. But
Yeah.
there is something to be said about just a intimate room with just a few people in there, just really encompassing themselves with the art.
No, for sure. I have loved, like you said, I've loved every part of the journey. I think each show, it just keeps getting better and better. And I feel like the fans that are coming out are like real fans now, and they get excited and they're excited. We do a free meet and greet at every single show that I hope to continue for the entirety of my career in some way, shape, or form. But every time that I get in the meet and greet line, that's kind of like my favorite part of the show is being able to like we end with 6 Feet Deep, and then I get to go meet everyone who like just screamed in the front row, and that's kind of my favorite part of the fans right now because they're so excited and I'm so excited to meet them, and I'm just like, you guys are here to see me, and it's weird to me. As for like people in the crowd, like obviously it's cool to have sold out shows. It's really cool to see everyone there and be like, holy cow, we did it. But I also think that I would put on the same show if we were playing 10,000 people all the way down to like one person even being in there. So I don't know. I like you said, they both have their own things, pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just singing the songs and seeing how excited they get kind of just like fuels my fire even more.
Yeah, absolutely. Just
Do you ever
feeding off the
feel
crowd.
do you ever feel like you have to like calm yourself down on stage because you're getting like too excited?
Oh yeah, often.
Really? Okay,
Yeah, there's
cool.
a lot, especially like at the beginning of the sets. Especially coming back. Like we took almost 6 years off and from playing shows, and coming back, it was like, okay, got to pace yourself into this. Like don't.
Yes.
And it's tough with that adrenaline going. Because you are feeding off the fans and you are feeding off everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right. And then I don't want to cramp up. I'm playing and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, just nice and easy, buddy. Nice and easy. Get in there. So,
Yes.
yeah, I absolutely know what you're talking about there.
Do you still get nervous?
No, not really.
Like more excited than nervous?
Yeah, excited, ready to feel the adrenaline, accepting of
Yeah.
that, and but I don't know. I don't know if I'm jaded or just old or what. I don't get excited for
No.
anything anymore.
Well, to be fair, and I'll defend my buddy
I just want to
here.
feel something.
Oh, you still feel it. Don't get me wrong. Once you're on stage, it's like, but like leading up to it, I'm kind of like, all right, let's get myself ready for this. Let's go, But I wouldn't say nervous is too strong of a word. I'd say excited.
Well, you said after
Good
this
answer.
long, it's been such a transitional time where it wasn't like overnight or anything like that, where it just kind of
Yeah.
slowly became normal, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've been doing touring since 2002. So I mean, from
Yeah,
playing in front of 5 people to what we're doing now, it's just been gradual, you know. So
So
that's
it's
so
been cool.
cool.
you're not signed to a label. You're doing this all your own. I heard you kind of mention that before. That's pretty badass, and that seems to be the new way things are going. But that's got to be a lot more work
Yeah,
on you, right?
it's a lot of work. It's rewarding. I think there's just a lot of things that you have to figure out how to do yourself, which I have sat behind my laptop for probably the last year, just being like, how do I make this that the venue needs and like advance the shows and do all these things? And I finally added a manager, which is like, completely helped in so many ways. And I kind of feel like I'm not all alone by myself anymore, which has been super helpful. And when you do everything, especially with social media too, like I'm posting to like 6 social media things almost a day. So it's been a lot, and like I'm not complaining in any regard because like I truly love every part of this business and I want to know how to run my entire business, even my merch, everything. I want to, if we ever needed help, like I want to be able to do those things for the business as well. Um, but it's a lot to handle. Some days you feel like you don't have enough hands to do everything and then write the songs and then go on the tours and pull the all-nighters coming back to Nashville after shows and like things like that. It is a lot. It's definitely not easy, but it's definitely rewarding. Like I said, every time in the meet and greet lines, like meeting the people who just see you behind a phone and they're so excited. Like that's why I do this.
Yeah. No, it is a lot, and especially as a new artist too. The grind is a lot more at the beginning. You know, it's as you
Yeah,
start, you start to get a real team around you that you can trust with some of those some of those things you have to do. You know, those tasks. I mean, like
absolutely.
6 different
Absolutely.
social media things you're posting to a day. I mean, I find it overwhelming when I have to do it like once a week for this show. I started telling Sam over here, I'm like, you got to help me out, man. I can't do this.
Oh,
We have 3 of us, and we were all me and the other guy were slammed with work, and Johnny was like, "I just posted all of them. I need a nap."
he's like, help.
Well, especially when I didn't know. Like that's the other thing is I'm not doing it often enough to know like how you mess up, you have to redo it.
Yes. Yeah, it would be nice if there was one app that posted across everything.
Right?
I think that would, and then you could set it up in the morning and then you can go write or do interviews or whatever you need to do. Even like taking just like a day off. Like I hadn't seen a day off until we just added Wayne on. And I'm like so grateful. And he's like, you know what? Go golfing today. And I'm like, really? Like, do you need anything? Can I bring my laptop to the course? Like, so it's definitely you kind of got to pick your battles, but I also think that mental health is super important, especially when you're touring, and I'm sure you feel the same way, but making sure that you are mentally good every time you hit that stage and after like meet and greet stuff, like it's very important to make sure that you're good before, you know, interacting with
Absolutely.
fans or even hitting the stage, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
absolutely. You definitely have to take some time for yourself, even just on this leg that we did for the first time in forever. Um, but after a few days of seeing hotel room, bus, dressing room, I was like, oh, that's right. I need to get outside and like work, like give myself some time, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I feel like not being home, like I'm sure you're just like exhausted by the time you do get home and then you sleep for 10 hours and then you're like, okay.
Yes and no now. So it used to be that way, but now that I have a 6-year-old at home, I'm getting more sleep out on the road. So
Oh, oh my goodness. Um, what's her
his
name?
name
His name?
his name's Franklin.
Oh, does he come out on the road at all?
Yeah, he just came out for like 5 days on the last leg. We were going through Chicago and
Oh,
Minneapolis, so they came through there, and it was a lot of fun. We had
okay.
a couple good days off there, so I could take him out and go to the Mall of
And see
America. Of
everything.
course, had to do that.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Got to ride all the
They have like a
rides.
roller coaster, right?
Oh yeah, they have a whole theme park in there. We
That's cool.
did the whole thing. It was great. It was great. What are some of the other things you like? You mentioned your golf. So you play golf, huh?
Yep, I do.
Is that something you've always done, like since a kid, or is that something you picked up, or?
So my family, they're huge golfers. So my grandpa actually taught me to golf, and then my dad plays like every day. So kind of grew up in a family who loved it. And then once I kind of got a little older, I was like, I didn't have many friends who golfed, like probably 5 years ago. And then I started meeting people who were like, no, I really love to golf. And I was like, oh, I also love to golf. And I actually just had my first hole in one, which is
Whoa!
crazy. I
Congrats!
know. It's just nuts. And I just
Did you
like
get, who are you,
almost,
how many people were you with when you hit that hole in one?
I was only with one person and I was terrified to tell anyone because then you have to buy the whole course like beers. And I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I could. So I couldn't tell the course, which is like bad. But, but yeah. So,
You
and it
got
was
to do
super
it. It's part of the
rewarding.
luck, so you'll get another one. I mean, me and my buddies
I
always joke.
know.
I've never hit a hole in one. Me and my buddy who got me into golf, neighbor friend John Lane, we always make the joke like when we're coming up to a par three, is like if one of us hits it in, just call the stretcher right away. Just call the stretcher because we're going hard.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. No, I was definitely shocked. And I nearly dropped to the ground because I was just like, people go their whole careers and never have this, their
Oh
golf
yeah.
careers. And I was like, holy cow. And my best friend, she was with me and we were just like, this is like a good omen. I'm big on omens and like just seeing what the universe puts in front of you. And I was like, this has to be a good omen.
Yeah, I mean it's something, that's for sure. I don't know what it is,
It's
but
definitely
it's a
something.
fucking hole in one is what it is, and that's
I
really
know. With
impressive.
my 7 iron. Oh, crazy.
So good. I've gotten close. I've gotten close, but never put
It'll
it in.
happen. It'll
Yeah.
happen.
Are
Well, I've
you a
only been
chill
playing
golfer,
for
or
like
are you pretty
5 years.
competitive, or how do you like to play?
I'm pretty competitive, but I also want people to golf with us. So you kind of have to not be competitive if you want more people to like join the community of golfers. Like I can't wait to golf like every morning before lunch. Like I can't wait to do things like that and be, just later in life be able to do something like that. So I actually just got to play Governor's Club here in Nashville, which is a private course, and
Mm.
my good friend was like, "Hey, I would love to take you out if you want to go and, late birthday present." And I was like, "Absolutely, I will be there." So it was awesome.
That's right. And so, what's your handicap?
Um, so so it's like so there's two ways to like say it. I feel like
Yeah.
ridiculous saying that.
No, no.
But I feel like I would land at like a 16, 17, depending on the course,
Right. That's
which is
good.
also like what an 86, 87,
Yeah.
give or
That's
take.
good. Yeah,
So
you're in the
yeah,
80s.
You beat
I'm
us.
shooting around
yeah,
100 still, so it's all.
that's okay though. I just feel like I go out, so I golf every Wednesday night. That is my one thing away from music that I can, just get away from, the hustle and bustle.
Are you walking the course or are you riding the cart?
No, we walk Wednesday nights because they don't let the cart out past 5.
Oh, hey, that's good though.
Yeah.
I enjoy walking, especially because the way that I play, it's not competitive, as you just heard my score
So it's
usually is.
fun.
It's just fun. I just walk for the
Yeah.
exercise. I'm out in the quote
Yep.
unquote wilderness. I mean, it's a
A
park.
lot of
It's a
walking.
glorified, a lot of
Yeah.
walking, but it's great. But it's great because I mean, and then I feel better about the alcohol that I'm consuming out there because I'm a little bit more
Yes.
active if I'm walking.
Yeah.
That's so for years. I was introduced to golf actually the first time, probably 10, 15 years ago, by a tour manager at the time. And our singer Matt got the bug right away. And he's been golfing the whole time. And I'd play with him every once in a while, but he's so goddamn competitive. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just started. And you're like,
Oh, well, that's the best part though is golfing with people who like just want to learn how to golf. I think that is more rewarding than anyone being competitive because then it makes you not want to golf. Like
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, well, that's how it
So
was for a long time. Then he mellowed out, and along the way, I
email.
went with somebody. I went with somebody else who, like I said, my buddy John, and he took me out, and he's like, because he kept trying to get me out there, and I was like, dude, I tried. I'm just not a golfer. I'm not into it. And he's like, just try it. And he took me out there on the
Yeah.
cart. He's like, we're gonna warm up, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll meet you out on the range. He's like, no, meet me at the bar. We're gonna warm up.
I love that. I love that.
And I was like, this is golf. And he was like, yeah, man, this can be golf. And I was like, okay, I'm into that. Drinking
That is so
out
much
with
fun.
friends. Yeah. Having an activity while you're drinking. Come on. What gets better than that?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Especially when you get to drink, you have a cart and it's just for fun. That's one of the greatest.
Oh,
The greatest Sundays, in my opinion.
So
Have you guys
have
done
you been?
Top Golf?
Yeah,
I don't do Top Golf.
Have you done it before? or no?
I've done it before,
I
but
have.
Not your
it's
thing.
fun. It's a good activity again, like because you can like order drinks. You kind of feel like you're at the bar, and I
Yeah.
mean, it's fun, but it's not the same.
But everyone's watching you, and that is one thing that will literally just make me an awful golfer, are just like people watching. Like I could never do like the PGA tours where they line up along the sides. I'd be like, this is not what, like I would hit someone for sure.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, I
hate the
definitely
first
hit
hole.
somebody, but it doesn't make me nervous to have people watching. I don't know why.
Really?
No, because I know I'm bad anyway. I'm like,
Oh, well,
I'm like, whatever, man. It's a fun game when I'm smacking this little ball around the
that's
course.
true. That's true. But you can't have a hole in one and then go and golf terribly in front of everyone because they're like, you're lying.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. When you're out on the road though, you guys tour differently. You're like country was usually just on the weekends, right?
Yeah. I would like to build up where we can be out for long stints of time, like months at a time. But I feel like we're just about to come into that cusp of touring, which I'm excited to learn about. And I've actually never stepped foot on a tour bus or anything. So we are in a Sprinter van and 12 passenger, and we're all just country bumpkins all up in there touring around the country, and it's fun. We're doing a lot of like all-nighters where we are going to shows and then driving back, or like staying at like bed bug motels, and very
yeah.
scary.
I remember those days.
Yeah, you sleep with
Those
one
are
eye
the
open.
college years. I call those my college years. I didn't go to college. That was my college. I was traveling in a van with my buddies.
School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
You learn a lot. You learn a lot on the road, and I think
Absolutely.
you have to do it. You got to pay your dues, and I'm excited to do it. I don't want to even look at a tour bus until we can actually do that, but I think it does maybe get easier along the road. I hope so. I hope.
Oh yeah, it absolutely will for your
So.
while. You got a bright future in that. And
Thank you.
with the driving, the all-nighters, how's the pecking order go with you and your bandmates? Who's driving? Who's taking what shift?
Well, normally I try and take right after the show. So I'm kind of already awake. My adrenaline's pumping still. Like I can't really, if we're playing at 9 or 10 p.m., like I can't go to sleep till like 2 or 3 anyways. And I'm
Oh yeah.
not a night hawk, but it's just the adrenaline gets me so hyped. I'm still excited. So yeah, I kind of take the first shift and then it kind of goes from there. If someone needs to sleep and then take a shift, like we're all kind of stopping for coffee. I'm trying to stay awake too. There've been a lot of all-nighters where like I will also just stay awake with the driver. Because like safety is also important, and we never want something to happen. Like, those guys are like my family. So, and I'm sure you feel the same. So everyone, I'm just like safety first. If you're tired, we'll pull over. Not a big deal, So,
I pulled over while sleeping one time.
oh God, were you okay?
Yeah. Speaking of safety and having someone shotgun with you, my drummer at the time woke me up as I was heading towards the piling in the middle of the highway.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad
Drinks
you're
that you had before
okay.
that too.
I was not drinking. I had been up all night taking the fucking night shift. Went to bed for a couple hours. Got woken up for another shift. This is when I just had joined the band too. So I was probably 19, 20 years old. Just like and
Oh
fucking
no.
exhausted. I guess. Next thing I knew, I was getting woken up.
Yeah.
I didn't have to drive for the rest of that day. So
They cut you off. They put you during the day now. That's our daytime guy.
yeah, that's daytime guy. No, but yeah, just traveling like that. So I guess back to the golf though. Have you been able to bring out your clubs? Have you been able to go out and play other courses yet?
Yeah, I am gonna go. We're in Minnesota with Eli Young Band in a couple weeks, and one of the radio promoters actually invited me to golf the next morning if we were still gonna be in town. And I was like, we actually have that day off, so I was like, we'll just stay and then drive back to Nashville after the round.
That's genius.
So.
No, that'll be fun. I just
Very
recently got to
excited.
go out on the road for the first time. Like I said, our singer always used to bring his clubs out, and we were just in
Yeah.
Ottawa and had a day off, and there was like a
Oh,
farm,
cool.
and I went out. See, I'm still playing my grandfather-in-law's clubs
Okay.
from like I'm due for new clubs. I put it in my head that I was going to get into the 90s consistently with these clubs, and then that way it
Love it.
bump me up,
Yeah,
and maybe I'd be in the low 90s, high 80s, and be really respectable.
absolutely.
But I'm not reaching that goal yet, and I think I'm just going to bite the bullet and give myself a Christmas present this year.
No, absolutely. I even think like there's a lot of great used clubs that have never been used. So I'm always big on like check your local shops or, I'm sure the Ottawa course was beautiful though.
It was. It was really cool. It was. It was.
That's
It was absolutely. I mean, it was a public course. We went out with the bass player Chris Steele from Alexis on Fire was on tour with us,
cool.
and
Cool.
yeah, it was. And my singer's son was out with us too. That was really funny. It was quaint though. It was like a quaint Ottawa course because I had a bad shot and I cursed like I usually do, and the kids next to me and the marshal had driven by. He's like, hey, you think that's appropriate to curse in front of the kid like that? And I was like, oh
Oh
yeah.
my God.
And this is like my nephew. Like we curse in front of him all the time.
You're
I was like,
like,
just move along, buddy. It's all good.
you're like, keep going, keep going.
You're like, you're the marshal of golf,
That is,
not my language. Get the hell
Yeah,
out.
it's gonna. And if you hang out, it's gonna get a lot worse. Trust me.
I literally would have been like I know him. Like it's all good. That's so wild. That's wild.
It
Well,
was
that's
fun.
really cool.
Yeah, it's fun though to have those days off and to be able to go out and do something like that. So if you're not quite there on the golf, you said Minnesota is going to be your first
Yeah.
time doing that on the road, pretty
Yeah.
much. What are some of the other things you like to do to keep your mind right and other hobbies you have?
So I'm a runner. I actually try and run 5K a day.
Nice.
Clears the mind. Like I said, like I'm a huge advocate for mental health, and I think that my life like changed for the better when I started running. And I always tell people because they're like, I hate running, it's awful. And I was like, if you walk, like I do mine in kilometers, but like if you walk 2.5 kilometers, you have to walk home. And then that's your 5K. Just start running in between there. Running doesn't have to be this constant thing. And it kind of scares people. And I'm always like, just start walking and you will eventually just want to get your walk over with. So you'll run.
That's a good way of looking at it for sure. That absolutely.
Hmm.
I've been into running for a while, off and on. I still do a half marathon every year, but like
Wow.
that, yeah, that's like,
Kind of into running and then does a half marathon.
well, here's the thing. So I got to bring it back. So years ago, my wife wanted to do a marathon, and so we started training, and she got hurt, and I was like, well, I'm still good, so I'm gonna run this marathon. So I ran the marathon. I got through it, and I was like, never gonna do that again. I'll do halves. Like the full was just,
Okay.
it was just a little much for me.
How long is it again for the full?
26.2 miles.
Oh my God. I
Yeah,
couldn't.
don't worry. I wasn't running very fast. It was definitely a snail's pace, but it was wanted to
But you did it. But you
exactly.
did
I
it.
just wanted to knock it off notch off the
Yeah.
old belt. Say I did it. Don't have to do it again.
That's amazing.
So every once in a while, I find myself like I'm like, oh, I got to work out today. Maybe I'll just go for a jog on the beach, something like that. But then
Yeah.
for the half marathon comes around February every time in the city. So I'll do sober January and get my running up, and then do that, and then break it right after the marathon because they have a beer garden. And
Or
I
during
just
it, like
bar
last
up.
year.
How could you
Last year I
not?
did it
At
during
one
it.
of the
You brought me
water
out
ones,
beers.
I handed
You
him
brought
a
me
beer.
beers out while I was running. That's true. That's true.
That is so cool. That's cool.
No, I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it for everybody, but
If it works for you.
especially after like 5-6 weeks of not drinking that first beer while you're like coming into the finish line, you're feeling it. You're feeling it right away.
My legs would just buckle and I'd be like, like literally get the stretcher because I can't walk.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's fun
God.
though. Running is good though. I like that you brought that up there. Running or walking. Now like I'll do walking more because I like listening to podcasts or music or something, or just clearing my mind.
Yeah.
Once a week now, I'm making sure I go walk down on the beach while I'm home and stuff, just to like you said,
That's
clear your
awesome.
head and just like be alone a little bit, and be
Yes.
okay with it.
I find that I get most of my song ideas when I am out for a run or walk or whatever I'm doing that day. Sometimes it's hard to like kind of get off your phone if people are trying to reach you. So walking is like the only way that I can't run and like text at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it just lets your mind go and you can like get into the song that you're listening to and like just see the layers of it, I guess, which
Yeah.
is I don't know. I kind of got addicted to it. I definitely was running way too much. Now I'm kind of like during the weeks, because like when I'm on the road, I don't have time to run really because we
Yeah.
don't sleep. So I'm like, if I run, I might like pass out at the show.
Mm.
But I also think, and like maybe you feel this way too, it's so hot at shows, and I feel like when you're jumping around the stage, running is the best way. Like running out here in the Tennessee heat prepares me for 110 down in Texas when we're playing on a floating barge in the middle of the day heat.
Oh.
And I'm like, I feel like I can better like, perform when I've ran all week in preparation for those hot shows that are outdoors.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so many times, like, I mean, we just did one in Chicago. It was nighttime, but it was still like, like
Really
with the
hot.
humidity, it felt like it was at 110 up on stage,
Oh,
and it was like,
Lord.
but you know, it's important though for people who are starting out, artists as touring and stuff like that, and performers. It is a good lesson to learn. Like you gotta take care of your body because like it
Yeah.
is tough with all that adrenaline on top of it too. Your body's doing things
Yes.
that it doesn't normally able to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I learned earlier on, like early on in the touring world, that it's not necessarily always about making sure you look good. It's like you got to be able to feel
Mhm.
good up there. Otherwise, it's going to be a bad time. I've had plenty
Absolutely.
of shows where I don't feel good up there, and I'm like, this sucks.
Really? I always, when I'm running, and I probably look like a crazy person, but I like sing out loud because I
Love it.
know that when I get on stage, I have to jump, run around the stage, and sing. Like, I don't think people realize how hard it is to like jump and sing at the same time. I never knew it was an issue until like honestly in the last tour cycle that we've been on last year. And I was like, oh my God, I'm like out of breath to like a very bad degree. So I had to like pace myself.
Yeah. See, Sam, you were giving me shit when we were camping a couple weeks
She
ago.
sings. You sit and play bass. Come on.
Sit? I sit? I sit and play bass? I don't know about that.
Oh,
I don't know about
No,
that,
but the
buddy.
cardio, back to what we talked about earlier about people who don't do the shows, but on the internet, I did notice someone that great musician, I won't name names, and then they had posted a live show and you could tell they were winded just because they weren't conditioned for that, so it totally makes sense what you're saying that, it's a lot of
it's
energy.
hard to learn. Like no one really tells you how to prepare your body for touring or even doing a show that you're gonna be like the adrenaline thing. It's just like I have like an outer body experience every time I hit a stage where I come off stage and I'm like, did I say something weird out there? Because I just can't remember. I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
remember because you're like in it. And we haven't
Existing.
even played like, like y'all have played shows forever and like done this. So I feel like I'm just learning, but it's just so hard to like remember every single step that you took on the stage because you're just like when you do it every night, I'm sure you're just like, okay, what did I say out there and how did I act and was it cool and was it not cool? Oh,
You gotta let those moments live on the stage. Can't dwell in them.
that's
You just
true.
gotta get off stage
That's
and just
true.
you gotta be
Good
a goldfish.
advice.
You gotta be a goldfish out there. Speaking of
Oh, that's
preparation,
so
though,
funny.
I am curious. As you mentioned, like 4 hour days sets when you're doing the bar scene and stuff like that. I'm gonna get a refill while you tell the audience here. I could still hear you
Yes.
though, but I'm listening. Just so everybody knows, I am listening while I fill my beer here. But what's your prep like for your vocal cords? I mean, how are you taking care of your voice?
So I am always drinking green tea. I always have the emergency packets as well because I feel like those are just a good boost of vitamin C and um, making sure that I am doing my warm ups before sound check. A lot of the times, just because if I'm not warmed up at sound check and we are running, the harder songs to sing to make sure that they're hitting really hard for the audience that night. And then I don't really talk a lot if I know that I have to sing the sets. Like we're doing 90 minutes even now. So the sets are,
Wow.
that's a headliner slot right
Yeah.
now, essentially. So we're I kind of do whatever I can to stay the healthiest on the road. I can't nap though. That's my only thing is I want to learn how to nap
You
because
don't do a pre-show nap?
no, I can't. I
Oh,
feel sick when
you
I
need
wake
it.
up.
I need a pre-show nap. It's part of my routine.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
see, I'll have to add it. What's your routine? Because I feel like I'm just like, please tell me if I'm doing something wrong.
Oh, I don't know. I think everyone's got to find their own routine in a lot of respects, but I don't mind sharing mine at all. It's you wake up whenever it is. Like you said, you're not going to bed till 2 or 3 at the
Yeah.
earliest. Usually it's closer to 4, and so
Yeah.
you're not waking up till noon, and then grab a cup of coffee, see what's on the agenda of the
Yeah.
day, get a workout in, get some work for this show. Actually, now that I have this show, which is a new thing, work on that
Hmm.
for a couple hours, and then I'll throw on either Seinfeld or Friends, and just listen to that and fall
I
asleep
love
for
it.
about an hour, and then wake up, have my
Wow.
dinner, and start getting my show clothes on and warming up. And then I hit the stage,
See, that's
do the stage after I get off stage, do a meet and greet, which is always
mhm.
awesome. And then hang with the boys, have some more drinks, talk business. Sometimes go out if there's
shoot,
something to
shoot
do
the
in that
shit.
town. Yeah, sometimes go
Yeah.
out there, something to do. Have some drinks, and then fall asleep by 3 and rinse and repeat.
Cool. That's cool. And that's a great way. I feel like that's like well balanced. You're like taking care of yourself from, the time you go to bed all the way to the show, and then you kind of have some time to do, hang with the boys. I feel
Yeah,
like that's like half of it is after the meet and greets, after everyone's gone home, it's just like, okay, now we're back to being friends. Like now we're just
yeah,
like buddies hanging out. We're not like working,
yeah,
essentially.
and
So
just
who are the
That's
band
really
talking.
that you're
cool.
with? Who are those guys? How'd you assemble your
So
team?
I've had a few of the guys for over a year. Like my guitarist Brian, he's been with me over a year and he's great. He wants to learn. He's always like, how do we make this show better? Like he's very much in it, which is like it's hard to find people who are ride or die. There's people can go down and play on Broadway and make a good living, honestly, off playing here on Broadway and never leaving town. So you kind of got to find your guys that are willing to be ride or dies because we are in the Sprinter van and our hope is to one day be in something bigger and make travel a little bit easier on us, and be able to sleep like on the road. Like mostly we're all kind of awake with each other. So um but yeah, and then a couple of the guys, we kind of auditioned a few people to come into the mix with the songs being a little more metal than they are country, but also like meeting in the middle. We needed guys who could do both and enjoy both. So
Mm.
it's nice. I've got some guys who really love the rock scene. So it's been super awesome because in the van, we're like listening to, you know, all the new rock songs that come out every week. Like Fridays, I'm like, Rock Hard is my playlist, and I listen from top to bottom every single week to see what's happening. So,
That's rad. You're more in the rock scene than
cool.
I am. That's awesome.
Well, really? What?
No, I mean I still listen to the
Are,
new stuff. Especially when friends release new music and stuff. I'll definitely check
yeah,
it out. Or if someone like says like you gotta check out this whatever it
yeah,
is, and I still listen to rock, plenty of rock. I still do, but it's not really my
I
go
get
to when
you.
I'm just hanging out. Like when
What's your go-to?
maybe mostly either like jazz or Motown. Really, is like
Okay,
I really like listening to some old Motown and funk by the pool. Like that's just
love
like
it.
yeah, it's just good vibes. Recently got into a
Absolutely.
little bit more reggae. Been into a little bit more reggae.
Okay.
So
Is the reggae scene like happening right now? You're gonna have to send me a bunch so I can listen
I
to it because I
I'll
don't
send you.
know.
All I know right now is Bob Marley. No.
I'm really into reggae.
I don't know if it's like that. But yeah, no. I started. About a year ago, I started really listening to Bob Marley. Only heard like the hits and stuff, and then I started like really
Hmm.
listening to his like because it's easy to find a Bob Marley playlist now and just jump around, show you a bunch of great
Yeah.
songs, and then at the end of it, it'll generally, use the algorithm to show you some more reggae and stuff. That's kind of how I'm getting into it,
Yeah.
and then I'm good friends with the guys in the Dirty Heads who have a lot of background in reggae as well. So I
Oh,
love their
cool.
records and going back and forth on that, and then just I got to get more though. Once I get more, I'll
Yeah.
start. I'll give you some recommendations, but cause I got to get a
Sure.
little bit more
Sure.
steeped in it.
I love that though because it's so different than what you do. So it's really cool to have that. I don't know. I feel like music to us, like if we listen to too much of the same thing, it kind of I don't know, you kind of get worn out on it, so
Yeah,
it's
and you want to pull, and you have different emotions. I'm a multifaceted person,
absolutely.
right? You have different moments, a different day you want to hear.
Hmm.
And that, back to your point earlier on in this chat, there shouldn't be genres. Like, what does that even
Exactly.
mean anymore? It's all music, it's all art,
Yep.
it's all beautiful. They're going to be able to find something good in each in any of these genres if you're just open minded to it.
110%. That's why I'm always like, if you guys like this certain thing, I'm always like, send me something because you know, I love to hear what everybody kind of is vibing on.
Yeah, I can send you some of my playlists for sure. We'll exchange numbers after
Please.
this, and we'll show you some stuff. But yeah, I
Sounds
mean,
good.
what are some of the other things that you listen to outside of rock? I mean, you already said it's mostly rock. I get that, but you got to have some
Yes.
country in there too. Is there
Yep.
anything else? Anything else out of those worlds?
I'm kind of so I actually like jump around, so I won't just listen to the new stuff that's come out. I'll actually go jump around and listen to stuff that came out like early 2000s, things like that, or even prior to that. So I do listen to a little bit of country. I kind of keep an ear to the ground of what's kind of happening, what's coming out. So there's a bunch of playlists that are like new music. But sometimes, like if we're just kind of vibing, I want to know what's happening in the punk scene right now in music too. I want to like a lot of people that I find off TikTok, I'm always downloading their songs because I'm like, oh, this is super cool, or the way they write their songs. Like if there's a pop song that I am really into, I'm like, this is awesome. Like Louis Capaldi, I think he just writes a song so well that I'm like, holy cow, this is insane. I do live under a rock for the most part, but when I get out of that rock, I'm like, oh wow, like some people just write some like really amazing songs with so much emotion, and my playlists kind of go all over the place. Same as yours, just because it's just music to me. It's there's a day and a time for everything, I feel like.
Absolutely, I totally agree, and I think more and more artists that I talk to these days are feeling that way too, which is
Yeah.
great. I think it's great for music in general that everyone is so open minded at this point. I mean, I remember starting
Yeah.
out, or like even going back to the '90s when you're a kid, and it was so elitist
Yeah.
on your genre, like you couldn't step outside of it. Like I was a
No.
punk rocker. If I stepped outside and listened to a little Metallica, I wasn't a punk rocker that week. You know.
You weren't cool anymore. I get
Nah.
it.
I don't know if
I
I was ever
listen to
cool, but
a lot of the old stuff I actually go back and listen to, like Good Charlotte and bands like that, where I'm just like
yeah.
kind of like I like to listen to the songs that have done well in the past to be like, okay, well, everything kind of comes back around too. So like writing wise, I'm always like, how far can we push this before we are like kicking through the box kind of thing. So a lot of the old like Christina Aguilera, I'm a huge fan of Christina Aguilera just for the sole fact of her songs say such an important message. I feel like with every single song, even the ones that are like super like funny, like I think Dirty is hilarious. Like I love
Oh
that
yeah.
song. It's great. But her voice
Fantastic.
is, or Lady Gaga, like Lady Gaga, I guess she'd be in the pop world. Her songs are like incredible, but I could never sing them, So I'm like, she does what she does so well, and I just respect it in everyone who does their own thing and is dares to be different, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's what it's all about. It's what you set out to do.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yep,
that should be what you set out to do. I don't know if that's everybody's mentality,
true,
but yeah.
It's
So
true.
good you got Punktry too, because I don't know what your guys' thought is, but punk, like you were talking earlier, Johnny, about how when we were younger, punk, it's like you don't blend, you either like
Hmm.
this. But now punk with MGK being considered
Yeah,
punk, like punk is not what it was when we were there. It's a lot more blended and more about an attitude and a feeling, kind of like country's doing with just mixing it. And I just love it as a person who just loves music. It's nice to see
yeah,
people not being pigeonholed, and it gives you that much more range too to have sonically a sound that doesn't sound like the same thing done
yeah,
over and over again. So
absolutely. Our
yeah,
show is kind of like a roller coaster. Every time I get on stage, I'm like, we're about to bring you through really country, Punktry, and then we kind of go into the metal stuff. Like the last half of the show is more so the rock side of the show, and that's when I have to pace myself because I get so excited on stage because I'm like, these songs are like, like it makes you want to punch the air. So it's fun and it's cool, and like we have a lot of songs that are in like the straight punk country vein, which is really cool. So we do all of those songs, and we do a cover that people just like get hyped at. And I'm like, even if you don't like punk, you're going to know this song. And we play Sugar, We're Going Down Swinging. And
Uh,
everybody gets so
Nice.
excited. Like people just, it's a, Fall Out Boy, everyone knows Fall Out Boy. So it's a good moment in the show where it's the only cover that we do. And then we take them on the roller coaster and then, everybody's always like, I love it to see because like in every single video, like we punch the air, which is so funny. And everybody does it now at the show. It's great.
if you ever
A
go
little shadow
on,
boxing. There's nothing wrong with a little shadow boxing during some metal.
I'm like, let's go.
if not if, but when you start doing like festivals and stuff like that, because I do you cross like the Hardy just did some Danny Wimmer present stuff, and I know that's rock and country.
So cool.
But if you run across the Butcher Babies, Carla knows every word
Okay.
to that song, and you got to do a duet with her on stage. So I don't know if you know that
Oh my
band, but you check them out.
God.
Remember that, Johnny?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's her guilty
yeah.
pleasure. That
Yep.
she knows every word of that.
I'll bring her up. That's
Yeah.
so fun. I hope so. I've never gotten to play a festival, so I'm hopeful for next year.
Yeah, no, I think you'll do well in the festival circuits for sure. Like Sam said, I feel that that's where we cut our teeth too. Is like doing Warped Tour when we were we were way more metal at that time too. We hadn't branched out as much, so it was punk rock and metal for us to start. And doing Warped Tour was perfect because it was blending and we sounded so different than everybody else out there. So
Yeah.
it was a way to stand out, and I think that should work for you as well.
Well, thank you. What was Warped Tour like? I feel like I never got to experience it, but I really wish that I could have at some point.
It was grueling, and it was fun. Like it was.
Really?
I'm glad I did it when I was young. I'll put it that way. Like a lot of those. I mean, we were in a van with a trailer, in a Econo van with a
Yeah.
trailer on the back driving, and you never know. That was a crazy one because you'd wake up or show up rather to the next venue, and that's when Kevin would let you know what stage you were on and what time you were playing. And
Oh
sometimes
gosh.
you'd be like, "Hey, guess what, guys? Good news. You're going to be on the main stage today." It's like, "Oh, cool. What time?" "Right now." "But we just parked over here." Like, get your shit over there. So
Oh my gosh. And
just jogging
you're like,
through,
no
like
time
trying to
for
go.
sound check.
Yeah, no, zero time for anything. You're just like, I hope everything works. Let's go.
Holy cow.
But
That's
it was fun
amazing
though.
though.
It was so much fun. It was
Yeah.
like it really back to what we were saying earlier. I mean, that was really the only way to learn how to do that. Is like just to
Yes,
go for it and do it. And
absolutely.
the camaraderie that came out of Warped Tour. I mean, to this day, I still I'll reach back to friends to come on this show that we toured with together and stuff, and on the Warped
Yeah.
Tours, and it's like that. When everyone knows what you've been through, who's done the Warped Tour, you're on a level with it. It's already a good starting point. Even if you weren't friends before,
Yeah.
you're like, you did a Warped Tour, like the whole thing.
You're like,
Yeah, all
you're
right, all right.
cool.
You're a real one. You're a real one. Right.
Oh, that's so
And
amazing. I
barbecue.
feel like
There's a barbecue band afterward that would come out. They'd play like one of the stages, and then at night they'd barbecue for everyone, and everyone would just pitch in, tip them, and like
oh,
all the
that's
bands would
nice.
hang out backstage, poker games and CeeLo games and all sorts of shenanigans, and trying to find showers. Sometimes there wasn't some, so you
Oh,
just used the canned water that you had for the day and just pour it over the top of your head because it was hot and it was
oh
crazy.
my, that's wild.
Oh
That's
yeah.
wild. But that's like living. I feel like without those experiences, like it shapes like you as a band and the guys, and I feel like it's just growing together. That's
Oh,
super
it
fun.
absolutely was. Yeah, it's definitely a bonding experience, and I wouldn't trade any of it for anything. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys have like some grueling stuff though. Let's go back to what we said at the top of the show here. You're supposed to come on like 2 weeks ago, and your van had some issues. What happened there?
Well, RIP to my previous tour van. It is now done. I drove 12 hours, and in the last hour, I flew, and I'm really bad with mechanics and cars and things like that. So the rear differential, I'm a hillbilly, so I can't believe I even just said that, exploded. And apparently that only happens in race cars. And I had just gotten it, so I bought it used from someone else. And yeah, so it stayed where it was, and then we sold it right away because I can't put the guys in a van that's blown the rear differential.
If it makes you
So
feel
I
any
was
better,
like,
I have no idea what that means either. So,
okay.
We're just nodding.
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
yeah. The differential, Sam, you know.
That
Like,
sounds bad. Yep.
we also got to be guys about it too. At like some point, like, of course I know that. Like, come on.
All the
You guys are
comments
like,
will be
oh
here.
yes,
Yeah,
the rear differential, of course,
yeah, of course.
Um,
That old thing.
yeah, apparently it's pretty bad, and I had brought it in straight to the mechanic, so I drove it with that blown for like an hour because I was still an hour away from where I was going, and I was like, I don't even know what to do. And then as soon as they looked at it, they were like, we have never seen this before. And I was like, are you guys saying that? Like, should I get a second opinion? They're like, you can't bring this anywhere else. This is like really bad. So anyways, they kept the car. I was like, just sell it, fix it, sell it, get rid of it. So now we are in a different van because I was like, we have 8 more weeks on the road. Like I was like, we need to figure out something. So now we are renting a van, which isn't the end of the world. It's just different path. That's all.
Oh yeah. Our van, we had one that was in pretty bad shape. My first tour ever, we called it the Road Dog, and then we upgraded to the Samurai, which was a white van, and
Nice.
that one was much nicer, except for the fact that if you got any bit over 70 miles an hour, the whole thing shook like crazy.
And you guys are like trying to sleep. You're not allowed to drive at night, but everyone.
Blow out your rear differential if you will.
I'll blow out my rear differential that way. Ah. No, it was it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so anyone at night was like had to like keep it a little slower, and you got truck drivers blowing by you and like honking their
Oh
horns,
my.
pissed at you. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. My car's not going much
Yeah.
faster than this.
That's crazy. Was it like a 12 passenger kind of situation or 15 or like was
It's
it
like an 18
what kind of
passenger
van?
econo van. It's similar. It was a Chevy version.
Oh,
but
wow.
yeah. So
That's,
and we just took out a
I feel
couple.
like
We take out 2 rows, so there's 4 rows. We took out
yes.
2 rows and laid down like a little foam mat. And actually, one time I was.
And slept there.
Oh yeah. At one point,
Wow.
I was driving from Arizona. We got back into California where the speed limit had changed, and I didn't realize it. So we got pulled over for that. And the cop was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I explained to him we're out on the road, we're touring, blah 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 blah. So he's like, "All right, now I got to check the back." He opens up the back, and 4 of my bandmates were laid out like sardines, like without seatbelts on. And he just opened the door and went, "Oh my God." At the
That
time,
is
we're
the
all wearing
greatest
makeup. At the
story.
time, we're all wearing makeup from the show before and stuff, like all dressed in black and like it was.
Oh my
It was I'm
God.
sure it was a very funny scene for that guy on a highway in the middle of nowhere between Arizona and California. He'd never seen
Probably
anything
like
like that before.
he just closes the door. He's
He
like,
did
okay.
actually. He's all, everyone getting seatbelts. I don't want to see you again. He let us go. And I was like,
You're like, no worries.
I'll try
Oh my
and drive
God.
slower.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I normally sit. I usually give the boys like to lay down. I was like, you guys just go, do your thing. I'll stay up. I just want everyone to be comfortable. And I would hate if someone was just like uncomfortable on the road. So, mattress in the back kind of thing.
Oh yeah, it wasn't. I don't know if I'd call it a mattress. It's a thin piece of foam.
Oh my goodness. We were all chatting the other day because someone was like, "Oh yeah, like you can sleep like below the seats on the floor," and I'm like, "Oh my God!" Like 2 hands on the wheel, looking straight forward, not falling asleep at all.
Oh yeah.
The road's
Yeah.
hard. The road's hard. I'm sure you guys have so many stories.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, it is, but I mean, to the point of like where you're talking about accumulating the right band and stuff too. There's a lot of great musicians out there
Yep.
who might fit the bill, but it takes a certain person who wants to be out on the road. Like you have to enjoy
Absolutely.
it. You have to find the joy of that grind.
Yes, and they have to be a cool person, or else it sucks.
Yeah, absolutely. That is, yeah. Got to be able to get along. Got to be able to get along.
Yes. Like I feel like it's the people who laugh with you at 2 a.m. when like everything has gone wrong. Like those
Yes.
are the people that are ride or dies.
Yeah.
And just make it fun. Like we're all miserable. We get it. Sleeping in airports. No one wants to sleep in airports, but sometimes it happens
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do.
because of bed bugs. Like you gotta.
Oh, how glorious are those nights though when you can afford the
Oh.
Motel 6 and just to get it like it's just you finally get one room, and there's 6 or 7 of us because we got like a sound guy and our tour manager with us in the van, and we're like,
Wow.
and you have to sneak everyone into the one room because you can only afford the one room.
Yes, yes.
And if they see you, they're gonna be like, no, you can't have that many people in one room. It's like,
Out of here. I would rather sleep in the van than ever sleep in a hotel room that I was like, they might be in here. Like the bed bugs. I can't.
that's smart. That's probably smart. I mean, I do think I developed a pretty mean immune system when I was younger from bad
touring.
hotel rooms and porta potties on Warped Tour for sure. Like, there was a meme
Oh
that
my,
went around when COVID hit and everything in 2020. Everyone was making jokes. There was a meme that went around. It's like, if you've done a Warped Tour and used the porta potties back there, you've already had the vaccine.
you're good. You've seen it all. That is so funny.
Yeah,
That's so funny. I wonder if are they ever going to bring that back? I heard there was a rumor that there might be another Warped
Someone
Tour, but I
bought it,
don't
I
know.
thought.
did someone
From
buy it? I don't know.
Is it the We Were Young? Is that
no,
who?
that's we know.
No, that's Sean.
Sean.
Is that a different one?
Yeah, that's our buddy Sean. It's a great. I mean, it's all the bands that were on Warped Tour in one weekend,
Yes.
which is fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
I
It's a
know.
matter of time
Next year,
before
I
that
want to
starts
go.
touring, right?
What's that?
I said it's only a matter of time before that starts being a tour thing. It's
I don't
got
know.
That would be cool.
I don't know. I think Sean really likes the way he puts it on in Vegas.
It would
every
be a
year, makes it
grind,
year
you're
thing.
right.
Yeah, I think he's really. I mean, they have great turnouts every year for it. Like
Yeah.
it's working really well. I'm really proud of him. That's our friend that actually was for a hot second tour managing us on one of those Warped Tours. So
Oh, really? That's
yeah,
amazing. That's like
yeah,
full circle. Wow.
So
yeah.
Sean,
he
who
puts
puts
that
that
on.
on, manages the Used and Story of the Year
Oh,
and
cool.
a couple other bands too. So
A trio.
That's really cool.
yeah.
That's really cool. I hope to go to a show soon. I love Vegas. Vegas is such a fun city.
So
But you
much
played there
fun.
Like
recently. How'd that go?
I did, yeah. I headlined at they have a country bar called Stoney's there, and honestly, I didn't know what to expect, but we sold 1,000 tickets, and I was like, "This is incredible!" So it's actually been our most ticket sales at one venue ever.
Oh
So
wow, that's
yeah, it went
rad.
really, really well.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What a good place to have it in too, Vegas. Now it'll
I
be even
know.
more dear to your heart.
I literally was like, I love Las Vegas. It's so much fun. There's so much to do. Everybody's just like, themselves. And I'm like, this is just awesome. So I have a good time every time we get to go there. But that's a run where we fly out of Nashville the day of and we don't sleep. We're in Vegas for 18 hours. We play that show and we fly home at like 5 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
party.
Vegas. There's plenty to keep
It's
you up.
Vegas. I'm like, we'll just go and gamble and then we'll go get on our flight. And everybody by 5 a.m. is like,
Yeah, but that's like the entire flight, isn't it? Like,
yeah, sleep when you're dead.
Yeah, exactly. Plenty of time for that later on. But yeah,
But no,
well,
it's
I
a
love
blast.
Vegas. We go to. I'm starting a tradition after last year. I'm a big Las Vegas Raiders fan. Or I was a Raiders fan
Oh,
since
cool.
they were in
Yeah.
LA. And so I take the family out now. And my son to he
That's
saw his
cool.
first Raider game last year. We just make a weekend of it. Go to a couple of Cirque
Yeah.
du Soleil shows, do the strip, do some fun stuff with the kids, and then with the kid and wife, and then go see a football game, and then drive back. It's really a
That's
great
so
weekend.
cool.
So we do
Have
that
you
every year
seen,
for my birthday now.
That's amazing. That's incredible. I feel like I've never seen Cirque du Soleil, but I hear it's incredible. So it's on my list.
Now, next time you're in Vegas, I got some great ones. O was like one of the first ones I saw, the water one. That was
Okay.
incredible.
Wow. Where did they put that on?
It's a good question. Is that one of the casinos, Royal?
It's got one of them.
Take that.
You can always gamble. You can always gamble. I know. I've
Yeah.
only ever been there for Miranda Lambert actually put on, she has a residency there right now.
Right.
And she invited us out and we went and it was, her show was incredible. And then we were kind of there for like 2 days. So kind of just walked around, did the thing, but didn't go to any shows besides hers. So
Yeah.
I'll add it to my list.
Yeah, well, you could. That's the great thing about Vegas. You could always find something new when you go back the next time.
Mhm.
There's always something to do.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So Vegas is
So we-
amazing.
So before we put a bow on this, it is. I did mention football, and I wasn't sure. Are you a football fan?
I hate to say this, but I know nothing about football.
Awesome.
Awesome.
We knew that when you said you. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
like
cool
the-
that he likes the Raiders. So
Like, so who, the who?
No.
The who?
I'm like, okay, it's a team. Maybe it's basketball. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just, I grew up in a hockey family, so know hockey very well. I feel like I never really get to go to any of the games here in Nashville, but I think that's just because scheduling is just a little
Did
crazy.
you adopt
so.
the Predators as your team?
I mean, yes and no. Like I enjoy going to the shows. It's very theatrical here, the way that they put on, a game. So it's so different. Like I said, my dad's a huge fan of hockey, and he still plays every week with all his
Wow.
buddies. Yep, like pickup. So I mean, I have a love for it, but I don't get to go to games as much as I would like to. If we're ever in Pittsburgh, I would like to see the Penguins play. That would be really cool. I've gotten to see them play here once, but that's kind of like the family team are the Penguins.
Oh, right on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good team. Yeah, I asked about football because this is coming out on a Tuesday. First game of the season is Thursday night, so I was just gonna see if you had any dog in the race, but apparently I got my answer. You're waiting around until October.
No dogs in the race.
It's a good time. September is a good time to be a sports fan, I think. It's like right before basketball and hockey are about to start. Baseball's in the exciting part of baseball. Football's just starting up. I mean, for American sports, it's a great time. It's a great time to be around.
We're
Very excited. Spooky season.
And
yeah,
well, I'm
let's talk about that.
I'm a big spooky season guy. I don't know if you can see my shirt.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, the whole gang.
Yes, yeah. And so this shirt actually is one of my favorite shirts because it combines two of my favorite genres, really. But it's a Mean Girls quote over Jason, Freddy, and Mike Myers. So
Oh
the
my
people
God.
listening at home can't see that, but it's like losers get it, get in, loser. We're going killing.
Or, is
We're going killing.
that what it says?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's incredible. I'm a huge horror fan. Like that's something that people probably don't know about me is like massive fan. Like I will see every
Well,
single scary movie.
They do now. Everybody knows it now.
Everyone knows. It's full disclosure. I am a huge horror fan. I read horror novels.
Whoa.
I see every single scary movie like in theater. I love it. I want to be scared. I just want to like feel something, So
Do you have a preference of type of horror? Because I mean, they got all the exorcism ones and all the different. What do you like?
So I love anything ghost related, which kind of falls in between, anything paranormal. I like the Ed and Lorraine stuff. So The Conjuring, The Nun 2 coming out. I am so excited. I think it comes out next Friday. So I love spooky season for the sole fact of like I get to see all the best horror movies that they're putting out for the year. That's what gets me excited.
I love that. You would get along with my wife. My wife's likes all the
Really?
paranormal stuff too. That's her genre. I like the thrasher, fun, killing stuff.
Yes.
Like the old guys on like I got on my arm and everything and on my
Yeah.
shirt and like I my favorite probably is still Freddy because Nightmare on Elm Street just the first one was pretty serious and scary and everything like that. But then after that is when he really started to really shine, in my opinion, when he'd be killing you and make like a really funny pun about the way that you were dying. Like I love that stuff.
I love it. It's a classic too. It's a classic.
Absolutely.
I definitely prefer that over like the Jason storyline.
Yeah, the Jason storyline I still think is a great one, but
Absolutely.
he's a silent character. I like the outlandish Freddy character
Like
that
Jason
he is.
X. Where
Jason
he
X
goes
was
to
a great
space.
one where he goes to space. That was
it's
fantastic.
So campy and fun. Yeah, that one I'm down for.
And
So are
Freddy
you like-
versus Jason were the two movies they did of
Oh,
those. I
yeah.
thought they did a great job on that.
But yeah, they blended the genre.
Yeah, they did it well. They did it well.
They did. So are you like a Terrifier fan or like saw like things like that where it's like
I'm gonna have
Or
to
like
admit it
Rob
right here.
Zombie,
I haven't
you
seen
know?
Terrifier. I love Rob
I
Zombie.
haven't seen it either. I'm glad you said that because
I
everyone
haven't seen
talks about
Terrifier.
Terrifier.
It's on my list.
Scary?
I'm gonna watch it.
I hear it's really gory. So if you like gore, I think you like,
I
you
love
know, I kind of watched a synopsis on it like the other day because I was like, why is everyone's talking about it?
All right.
But they keep like on TikTok, they'll put, and this is the side of TikTok that I'm on. They put the Terrifier scene and then they put a Slipknot song under it. And I'm just like, this is incredible. Like I really want to see this.
Yeah, I gotta see it. Like Chris Jericho, our friend, was in it. So I know I got to watch
Oh,
it.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think I'm thinking of the right
awesome.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And I'm a
You're
huge like.
professional wrestling fan too, then?
No. No, yeah.
We
Just,
had golf and
you
horror
know.
movies in common. I just thought I'd keep shooting the shot. What else do we got in common?
What else do we beer?
Beer, yes. We're learning so
I'm
much
gonna
about
go
each
get
other.
my other knuckles done with beer.
Absolutely, I think that's a great idea. It's so good though, because like sometimes if you've been overserved, but you still need another one. You're like, I'm over beer now. I can tell you, just give me one.
You're like, I'll take another one, please.
Yeah. Sometimes it works. Sometimes they're like, no, sir, no.
That is too funny. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Lots in common.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time, Royal, for being here on the show. I can't wait to continue to watch your career as it blossoms, and congratulations on the #1 rock song. That's really cool.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so
and
much.
on the touring, we'll be watching.
Anything to
Everyone
promote
go
before
check
we
out
let you go?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Do you have anything to promote before we let you go? Or shows or new releases?
I mean, we are on tour for the next little while. We do have some fun and exciting stuff I'm going to be able to release really, really soon, pertaining to Even 6 Feet Deep. So just follow along. We'll get the Instagram back up and running. And but we have something super cool coming out. So just follow along, and I will be leaking it everywhere very soon.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear it and see what it is, or hear and see whatever it is. I'm excited. Everyone go check out more of Royale Lynn. That's easy enough to find. Just make sure you're following the right one. That's
Yes.
the only issue.
Yes. There's only one. There's only
Yes,
one of me.
There can only be one. There can only be one. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for listening at home, watching, following, all that great, fun stuff that we got to say every time. Until next time, as always, cheers.